how $500 can become the beginning of your wealth machine. Most people look at $500 and think that's not enough to change my life. And honestly, they're right, if they expect that $500 alone to make them wealthy. But what if you are looking at the wrong number? What if the real value of your first $500 isn't how much it can become, but what it can teach your money to do? Because wealth doesn't usually begin with a huge pile of cash. It begins when you stop thinking of money as something you only spend and start treating it as something that can produce. Think about the difference. You earn $500, you spend it, it's gone. Or you use that $500 to buy a small piece of a productive asset. Now, you own something that may generate earnings. If that investment pays you dividends, you have a choice. You can spend the money or you can put it back to work. That second decision is where the machine starts. The dividend buys more shares. Those additional shares may generate more dividends. You reinvest those dividends, and now your growing investment base has the potential to generate even more income. It sounds almost boring, and that's exactly why it works psychologically. Your wealth machine doesn't need to be exciting. It needs to be repeatable. But there's an important distinction here. Don't fall into the trap of thinking the highest dividend yield automatically means the best investment. A company can pay an attractive dividend and still be a poor investment. Dividends can be reduced, share prices can fall, businesses can deteriorate. What matters is owning quality, productive assets at sensible valuations and considering the total return, not simply chasing whatever investment promises the biggest dividend. Now imagine someone starts with $500. They don't expect it to make them rich. Instead, they make a rule. Every time their investments generate income, they reinvest it. Then they continue adding whatever amount they realistically can each month. The first few months might feel almost pointless. The numbers barely move. And this is where most people quit. They look at their account and think this isn't working. But something much more important is happening. They are building a financial habit. They are learning to earn money, preserve it, invest it, reinvest it, and leave it alone long enough for compounding to matter. That is the real transformation. Your first $500 isn't supposed to prove that you can become rich. It's supposed to prove that you can build a system. And once you understand that, your next $500 becomes more important than your first. Then another, then another. Eventually, you stop asking, how much money do I have? You start asking, how many productive assets do I own? That is a completely different way of thinking about wealth. And here's the part most people underestimate. Compounding doesn't become interesting because the first few dollars are impressive. It becomes interesting because every additional dollar joins a system that is already working. Your money begins working alongside your future contributions. Of course, there are no guarantees. Markets fall, investments disappoint, dividends can disappear. Real wealth requires diversification, patience, discipline, and the ability to keep investing through uncertainty. But that's the bigger lesson. The wealth machine isn't the dividend. It isn't the $500, and it certainly isn't some secret investment. The machine is the system. Earn, invest, reinvest, contribute, and give productive assets enough time to work. So the next time you look at $500 and think it's too small to matter, remember this. Your first $500 doesn't need to make you rich. It needs to become the first worker in a system that you keep expanding. Because wealth isn't built when your money finally becomes enormous. It's built when you teach your money to stop being consumed and start becoming productive.